Okay, you'll have to forgive me for the total lack of production value with this video, but I'm definitely on limited time and resources. However, this is such an important topic, and we're coming up on such critical timing of the entire process. I felt like this input was definitely necessary. You know, I've been saying this for quite some time now that nothing would surprise me anymore in this process between the A's and the city of Oakland and Las Vegas and Major League Baseball and the Nevada State Legislature. So many things have been crazy or unexpected or unhinged or unconventional in reverse that at this point we've been through so many twists and turns, and I still did expect a few more. I wouldn't be surprised by basically anything that could happen from here on out. And right now kind of feels like it definitely falls into that exact theme. I mean, we are hours away from baseball's owners' meetings in Arlington, Texas, and the vote has been presented. The vote has said to be on the table for not only discussion, but to actually be taken. But there are still so many publicly unknown things about the actual vote and the project and the process itself. It is so crazy that nobody knows anything about it yet, and it's still just going to move forward? I mean, things like what the project even looks like. Not even a single rendering or blueprint or visual or idea. What you saw months ago has already been deemed outdated, so forget those renderings from May. How about what's the exit plan from Oakland? Where will the A's play for 2025, 6, and 7? That seems pretty critical to this process. I know they want to leave Oakland. I know they want to get to Las Vegas, but there are those in-between years that if you can't manage to figure them out, how will you exist? How will you make that transition? And how will all this be funded? I get it. There's public funding. There's private funding. We don't know much about the private side, and even the public side is being challenged to a large degree, and we won't really know the answer to that if it gets challenged fully, if it gets challenged partially, if it exists or not. We really won't know until probably summer of 2024 into the fall of 2024, November, when they would have an election in the state of Nevada. And there's just not a lot of transparency here in these final hours. And that's frustrating on a multitude of levels. Obviously, I can take it from the firsthand side and say that from the Oakland perspective, it's frustrating that the A's desperately are trying to get this move to happen. They've been pushing it through, and yet they don't even have all their T's crossed and their I's dotted. And that's frustrating from an Oakland side. What are all the answers to the questions that are out there? Who knows? They're just kind of leaving without any challenge. I would also think the lack of transparency is bad for owners. I mean, they're going to be pressed to make a pretty influential decision. I realize it's not their franchise, but it's a part of the business and the industry that they're in. And if they make the wrong decision here, it's going to go against baseball for quite some time. And not to mention, you'd think, well, Vegas is the only ones who don't care. I mean, they just expect this to go through and they'll be happy however it turns out, but they don't even know what they're getting. Like, this is kind of like a box that has no label and you don't really know what's inside, and they say it's all good if you just open it up, but you don't actually know until we get to that point. The lack of transparency, the lack of spelling all this out, it seems pretty strategic here in reverse. But quite honestly, it's the same way that the Nevada State Legislature was handled back in the summer. Right, May 25th, basically the final day that the A's could submit their language and the request for public funding. That's when they did it. And that's when the renderings all dropped. They didn't really give anybody time to process it, to have a discussion about it, to have much public back and forth. It was kind of a strategy to not give it a lot of time for reaction. In this case, with the owners' meetings, and I get it, it's a private business. All these teams are privately held, and so their owners respectively will vote on it. Maybe the renderings, the plans, all the finances, maybe they don't need to be out there in the public sphere, but it still is a public-private partnership, in Las Vegas, and it's a baseball team that's been in the fabric of Oakland for more than 50 years now. And so to have all this stuff probably behind the scenes, and I guess we don't know how much actually is there behind the scenes. What's behind the curtain right now? Is it fully baked? Is it half done? Can they pass something that's half done? I don't want to say is that fair to everybody, but I mean, that is a consideration. And how about Major League Baseball? It's one thing if the A's want to try and push this through however possible, however quickly they can, but how about baseball? What about that promised process of the relocation committee and all their research and the answering of the questions of, well, what does it look like leaving here? What does it look like going there? What are all the different intricacies and ramifications of this? Did they actually go through that process? Or was that just a front? Owners of the Phillies, Royals, and Brewers, researching this and then making a recommendation to the commissioner, who would then make the recommendation to the owners, and then they would eventually have a vote. Did the recommendations already happen? Did the research already happen? How about the A's a long time ago saying that they would choose their design firm for the stadium and that designs would be unveiled at the end of October and then at the beginning of November? We're mid-November. None of that has happened yet. And I totally understand that the World Series and the playoffs were something that you do not want to step on. You don't want to step on the postseason's toes. But we've had plenty of time, plenty of days and opportunities where I thought, hey, today is the perfect chance for the A's to just splash and blow everybody away, answer all the questions, and then I'm not making this video. People in Oakland don't really have much else to say. People in Las Vegas are totally satisfied because they know the plan. But that didn't happen. And so I think from a fan perspective and standpoint, you can look at the A's and say, well, this must be their strategy, and fair or not, I mean, this is how they're playing it. But how about baseball? Like, they're also going along with this. Maybe they're okay with this. It is my prediction that if it comes to an actual vote and public money is involved, I don't see how they turn that part of it down. And that could also be an aspect of this. What are they voting on? The team moving or not? Or are they voting on, well, $380 million are sitting out there for a team if they just move? And that money goes away if they don't move. So what is the vote really on for owners across the league? I hope, they understand the history, the heritage, all the importance of what their team means to their fan base, and to translate it into where Oakland stands. All of this timing is absolutely crazy that the A's need a binding agreement on a stadium situation anywhere by January 14th, or else they're off the CBT, the collective bargaining tax, the revenue sharing plan, basically. So they've been pushing for that. But then there was the other piece of information, which was only recently publicly discovered, and that is the owners of the Tropicana site, GLPI, Gaming and Leisure Properties Incorporated, they need a firm answer by December 1st. And I had been saying all along, I thought, well, if a vote doesn't happen at the owners' meetings, no problem. And that would still be the case here. You know what? Take your time. Do it before Thanksgiving, or do it right after Thanksgiving, or do it, heck, right after the winter meetings, or during the winter meetings. It doesn't really matter, but you got time. Turns out, the A's don't have time. They need this to be squared away by December 1st. Like, they need the owners to vote yes by December 1st. If they don't, their situation with GLPI is, I don't know if it goes away, but it's not valid as it stands right now. And if they don't have that land, they also don't get the $380 million of public funding from SB1 passed in Nevada, because that public funding is tied precisely to that site, the Tropicana Hotel site. And so here we are, hours away from a pivotal decision, pivotal choices by Major League Baseball. And I just listed some of the questions. What does it look like? What does the stadium look like? How does the infrastructure around it go? Can this actually be done for the set price? Where will the team play? I actually think, as much as we all would like to see renderings to know what we're actually doing here, the bigger And most important thing right now is the exit plan. What are you going to do for 2025, 6, and 7? Or even longer if necessary? You really going to play in a minor league ballpark for a year, a couple years? Are you going to do the whole split thing? I saw it mentioned that Oracle Park might be an option, but only for a small selection of dates. You think the Players Association is going to go for that? Splitting a season between 2 home venues? No other baseball team does that for a reason. I don't know how much the PA has been involved down these final steps and in this final stretch. It's been reported by the San Francisco Chronicle that the Coliseum Joint Powers Authority has already said that they've not really been contacted at all for a new lease for the team in Oakland. So unless there's some wild cards here, look, all of this might fall into place within the next couple hours or by the time you're watching this video. But as of here and right now, so many things that are unknown. It's amazing how this could actually be voted through, but also, as I said before, nothing would surprise me anymore. Maybe it just will be voted through without all the details and everything you would have expected. It's like buying a car without even knowing the price. Who does that? But it kind of seems like that's where we're going, and that's where this is headed. So you made it here to the end of this very simple video. Just did it on my phone. Thumbs up for that. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so I can definitely see you back here next time. And you know what? Maybe I'll put all the stuff on the screen. You could watch some of these videos. Maybe if I move my head, you could go subscribe to the channel. Did that work? I'm not exactly sure if that part worked or not, but we're trying it out. All right. See you later, everybody.